Have you noticed something unusual lately? The same name appearing in unexpected places. Dreams that feel too vivid to be coincidence. A song that plays at the exact moment you're thinking of them. Or a peace that settles over your spirit whenever you pray about this person. What if I told you that when God has decided two people belong together, He doesn't just whisper it once and walk away. He confirms it again and again. Through signs so persistent, so undeniable that even your doubts can't silence them. For someone watching right now, heaven has been orchestrating a divine confirmation campaign in your life. You've been wondering if you're reading too much into it, or if God is actually speaking. The truth is, when the Lord wants you to pay attention to something this important, He doesn't leave room for confusion. He layers confirmation upon confirmation until your spirit knows what your mind is still trying to process. And here's what's both beautiful and challenging about this season you're in. The signs won't stop until you two unite. Because God's plan doesn't have a backup option. He's not uncertain about this. You are? And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. Before we go any further, if this message is already stirring something in your spirit, if you sense this word is for you, I want you to do something that activates your faith. Go to the comments right now and type, "I believe."
Ow.
Just those two words? This isn't superstition. It's a declaration that you're choosing to align your faith with what God is revealing. And there's power in that agreement. Type "I believe," and let's step into this word together. Now, let's talk about what's really happening when God confirms a union between two people. Most believers understand that God cares about relationships and marriage. We know Proverbs 22:18 tells us that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. We've heard these truths our whole lives. But there's a difference between God's general principles about relationships and God's specific confirmation about a specific person for a specific purpose in your life. When the Lord moves from principle to precision, everything changes. You're no longer just hoping for a good relationship. You're recognizing a divine assignment that's been written in heaven before you even met this person. And here's where it gets interesting. When God confirms something, He doesn't do it to show off His power or to play games with your emotions. He does it because what He's putting together is too important to be built on assumption. It's too significant to rest on feelings alone, and too strategic to your destiny to be left to chance. Think about this. If God is taking the time to send you repeated confirmations, persistent signs, undeniable moments of clarity, what does that tell you about the weight of what He's building? It tells you that this union matters not just to you, but to heaven's agenda. There's a reason the signs won't stop. There's a reason the confirmations keep coming. God is preparing you both for something that requires absolute certainty. It's unshakable faith and divine timing. But let me address what you're probably thinking right now. You're wondering if you're making this up? You're asking yourself if you're seeing signs because you want to see them. If your heart is creating meaning out of coincidence. If you're being foolish for believing that God would speak this clearly about something so personal, and that doubt? That's actually part of the process. Because God doesn't just confirm things to your emotions. He confirms them to your spirit, your mind, your circumstances, and your peace. When all four of those align, you're not dealing with wishful thinking. You're dealing with divine revelation. Let me paint a picture of what this looks like in real life. There's a woman I want you to imagine, someone a lot like you maybe. She's been single for years, healing from past relationships, building her life with God, pursuing her purpose, and honestly not even looking for anyone. Then she meets someone. It's not dramatic at first. Maybe it's a friend of a friend, someone at church, a colleague, or even someone who's been in her life for a while, but suddenly there's a shift. And then the signs start. She prays one morning, asking God for clarity. And that afternoon, the person texts her something that answers exactly what she was praying about. She's reading her Bible, and a verse jumps out that seems to speak directly to the nature of their connection. She has a dream, and in that dream there's a knowing. A confirmation that feels like it came from somewhere beyond her own mind. Days later, she's listening to a sermon that wasn't even about relationships. But the pastor says something that lands in her spirit like a direct word from heaven about this person. Now, she could dismiss one of these moments. she could explain away 2 or 3. But when they keep coming, when they stack on top of each other, when they arrive in moments when she's not even thinking about it, something shifts. She's no longer wondering if God cares about this area of her life. She's realizing that God is actively involved in orchestrating it. And that realization changes everything. Because now it's not about her trying to make something happen. It's about her learning to recognize what God is already doing and partnering with His timing instead of forcing her own. This is where many believers get stuck. They receive the confirmation, they recognize the signs, but then they try to rush the process. They think that because God has confirmed it, they should immediately act on it, pursue it, make it happen now. But here's a truth that will save you from unnecessary pain and confusion. Confirmation is not permission to force timing. Let that sink in. God can confirm something years before it manifests. He can show you the destination without revealing every step of the journey. He can give you absolute certainty about the what while keeping you in faith building. It's a mystery about the when and the how. Isaiah 55 verse 8 reminds us that God's thoughts are not our thoughts, and His ways are not our ways. When He confirms a union, He's operating from a perspective that sees everything, what you both still need to learn, areas that still need healing, character that needs developing, circumstances that need shifting, and timing that needs to align. You see the confirmation and think it means now. God sees the confirmation and knows it means eventually, after preparation, after process. After both people are truly ready for what He's entrusting them with, and this is where the spiritual maturity comes in. Immature faith sees signs and demands immediate manifestation. Mature faith sees signs and asks, God, what are you preparing me for? What do I need to become to steward this gift well? How do I need to grow during this waiting season? Because here's what's happening in the gap between confirmation and union. God is not delaying your blessing. He's developing your capacity to receive it, maintain it, multiply it. Think about the story of Isaac and Rebekah in Genesis 24. Abraham knew it was time for Isaac to marry, but he didn't just pick any woman and force it to happen. He sent his servant on a specific mission, with specific instructions, trusting that God would orchestrate the details. And what did the servant do? He prayed for a sign. A clear, undeniable sign. He asked God to confirm which woman was chosen by having her offer to water his camels without being asked. That's a specific request. And God didn't just kind of confirm it. He confirmed it so clearly that the servant bowed in worship before he even spoke to Rebekah's family. The sign was that definitive. The confirmation was that strong. And even after receiving that confirmation, there was still a process. There were conversations with her family, a journey to take, preparations to make. Confirmation came first, union came later. Both were divinely orchestrated, but they didn't happen simultaneously. You need to hear this because I know some of you are sitting in the space between confirmation and manifestation, and it's testing everything you thought you believed about God's faithfulness. You've seen the signs, you've received the confirmations. You know in your spirit that God has shown you something real, but the waiting is making you doubt. The delays are making you question. The silence from heaven about when is making you wonder if you missed something or made it all up. Let me speak to that doubt directly. When God confirms something, His confirmation doesn't expire. His word doesn't have an expiration date. What He spoke in your prayer time 6 months ago is just as true today. What He revealed in that dream last year is still valid now. The sign He gave you that brought you to tears with its precision hasn't been revoked just because time has passed. God is not a man that He should lie. Numbers 23 verse 19 tells us. If He said it, He will do it. If He promised it, He will bring it to pass. Your job is not to keep earning the confirmation or to keep proving that you're worthy of what He showed you. Your job is to remain faithful in the season of preparation, to keep growing in the areas He's highlighting, and to trust His timing even when it doesn't match yours. Now, let's talk about why the signs won't stop. Have you ever wondered why God doesn't just confirm something once and call it done? Why does He keep sending reminders, keep arranging confirmations, keep speaking through multiple channels? Because He knows us. He knows how quickly we forget, how easily we doubt, how our emotions can cloud our spiritual perception. He knows that the enemy will come to steal the word that was planted in your heart, that circumstances will rise up to make you question what you heard, that other people will speak doubt into your atmosphere. So God, in His love and wisdom, creates a pattern of confirmation so consistent